Right.
There you go.
So, thank you, Michael. Thank you, all associated with Aurora, and for the women who have agreed to dive in and lend your voice, lend your ethic to this mission of caring. Human beings have demonstrated over many thousands of years the ability to consume the natural world. We're really good at transforming forests, rivers, land, ocean into products, into what we consider to be things useful to our existence. It's only right about now that it's beginning to dawn on allegedly intelligent human beings that there are limits to what we can take, limits to what we can convert from the natural systems and still have a planet that works in our favor. We've taken so much for granted for so long that it's a hard habit to break. But I'm most optimistic because the kids of today have grown up entirely in the Anthropocene. Anyone born after 1950 has lived a lifetime in a new geological age, defined by our geological imprint on the natural world. There's a standard you have to meet in order to be regarded as a different geological epoch. And guess what? We're there and we're responsible. The mark is defined initially by the explosion of nuclear tests in the South Pacific that left elements that are written in rock, written in stone all over the world, the fallout from those nuclear tests in the 1950s. But there's much more. We, every day, live in such a way that we're drawing on chemicals that have been synthesized that do not occur in nature. Many of them occur in plastics, but that's just the beginning. I mean, they're just in our own bodies, in the air, in the water. We have done a pretty good job of beginning to transform the nature of nature. And nature needs a voice. And I think that you, all of us, can be a voice for those who have no voice, not just creatures in the sea, but all of those who are yet to come along, the children of tomorrow, as well as the children of today. But it's my hope that we will enlist some of those kids of today who are armed with this superpower of knowledge, of knowing what I did not and could not know, because the knowledge wasn't there when I was a kid. It just didn't exist. How deep is the ocean? What does Earth look like from space? The capacity to access and document, record, gather evidence, and maybe most importantly, to begin to pull it all together, to look at patterns, to see concepts. It wasn't very long ago that if somebody discovered something and wanted to share it, you could write about it and it might be published in a year or 2 or 5 and might be accessed by scientists or others, policymakers, kids, adult, anybody. But it would take a long time to get that enough of this information and what it means to us and to the future. So I consider myself, and you should consider yourselves, really lucky to have come along at just the right time to not only benefit from all of this new knowledge that has been accumulating in the 20th century, but to know what it means to be able to crunch the numbers, to look at the photographs, put together the pieces of the puzzle that no one could do before. And the kids are growing up in the midst of this exciting new time of discovery, not just new facts and figures, but discovering who we are and where we've come from to some extent, and maybe most importantly, how can we take what we now know and go forward armed with knowledge that could not exist before. This is the best time ever. If you have somehow in your heart a desire to make the world a better place, an enduring place for our species, we know how to not make the world in a place that will be suitable for us. We've been doing a really good job of undermining our life support system. The expeditions that can be carried out aboard this ship, of course to polar regions, but globally, I think will underscore how fast the world is changing owing to us. And also what we can do now, especially most critically in the next 10 years. We've got this window of opportunity. It's really a time, the optimal time in all of history for hope, because before we didn't know. We don't have an excuse anymore. That knowledge is there and it is being communicated. But what we still lack, and what I think your voices and the opportunity to take people to places and subject them to experiences that will do more than almost any other means of communicating the nature of not only the fix we are now experiencing, melting polar ice, the decline of the diversity of life, the pollution that we can witness everywhere in the ocean. We have the ability, with a captive audience, taking to great places, to convey the urgency and the joy of making a difference while there's still time, and not to give up on saying, "Oh, it's too late. We can't. I'm just one person. I can't make a difference." And realizing that yes, if you take that attitude, you're one person and you do nothing. You are making a difference. Your neglect is part of the problem. Your indifference, your complacency, that's part of the problem. We need to convert those who aren't on board for positive energy and doing what they can with the power they have. Well, all that is directed toward why I'm excited about what can be achieved, not just with the Sylvia Earle vessel and you with all your names as heroes that I think really in itself conveys power and examples. People who say, "I'm just one person, I don't know what to do." You can look at you're just one individual too. Look at what you're doing. And that, I think, conveys a message of get off your butt. Did I say that? I really mean it. Don't think that that you're powerless. There's never been a generation with more power than the people who are alive right now in all of history. And what's not to love about that? So, I am really honored to be among you. Honored to have my name on a ship of hope that is going to sail from one end of the world to the other and make waves along the way. So I'm really eager to hear from each of you. Is that the goal, Michael?
Yes.
Alex?
That is indeed the goal. Absolutely.
Thank you.
From all these wonderful
Thank
people.
you, Sylvia.
Yeah.
I like it. Ship of Hope. Thank you so much, Sylvia. There's so much to take
That is the
away.
perfect tagline. A ship of hope.
Yes.
And we've got people from all over the world who are listening and who are joining us. So we've got people from Sabah, from Sydney, from Japan, which I think is a testament to all of the amazing work that you ladies have achieved. And I think I'm, feel incredibly honoured just to sit here and ask you some questions. But Sylvia, I'm just going to quickly circle back to you, if that's okay, quickly. We talk about the importance of getting more women in positions of power and leadership, and especially when it comes to science. I'm interested to know, how hard was it for you? You were an absolute trailblazer in your field. How difficult was it to battle the stereotypes for females, engaging in science?
I don't know where it struck me, but somewhere along the line I realized that it takes the greatest possible diversity for our society, our civilization to function. And look in the mirror and see who you are to you. And realize that there will be people, no matter what you try to do, there are people who say, you're too old, you're too young, you're too tall, you're too short, you come from this country, you come from that country, your skin is this color, your skin is that color. All the reasons you can think of why you cannot do what your heart says, I must do this, I must write, I must sing, I must be a scientist, I just have to do this, I just have to, it's what I am, it's who I am. If you let others tell you who you are, then that's a great tragedy. Look in the mirror, figure out who you are, and then don't let anybody stop you. I mean, of course there are people who said, you're a girl, or you're too little, or you're too young. Now, it seems I've crossed that other line. Oh, maybe you can't do that, you're too old. It's an attitude that if you really want to achieve something, figure it out. Just keep on it. And so I wanted to be chief scientist on expeditions. I wanted to be in a submarine. I wanted this, I wanted that. And eventually, most of the wants, not because somebody gave them to me, because I just didn't stop trying and knocking down the barriers. And so I couldn't get in the line to use the Alvin submersible. It was a very long line, and you had to have a justification for why you wanted to go. I just wanted to see what was out there. I wanted to explore. I couldn't really tell anybody exactly what I would see because nobody knew exactly what you... But so I teamed up with engineers and we started a company and we built submarines. And we're still doing that. I'm not an engineer, but again, the human capacity to work with others, to draw on the talents of others, to team up and move forward. It's how civilization progresses. So that's a kind of a long, windy way of answering your question. Maybe I really haven't, but yeah, it's frustrating at times. Yeah. But if you let it get you down, you'll never get anywhere.
No, well, thank you. I think you definitely have answered it, and I think also, you've given hope to people. It doesn't matter what age you are. There's always going to be barriers, but you just got to push back on those barriers. And I think you are a wonderful example of what that does and what you've achieved. Because if you did listen to people, you'd be, you wouldn't be where you are now. No, exactly. So thank you for continuing to push and inspiring others to be the best that they can possibly be, whether male or female. So thank you.
Right on.
Well, this was oh, go ahead.
Just one quick thing about being a gender thing, that when I served as the chief scientist of NOAA, the chief lawyer, the chief attorney for NOAA, came in one morning